First of all, thank you, Hashem. We're able to learn.
Yeah.
Able to learn every day. And most of our learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash immediately.
Amen.
And Refuah Shleima for Yechiel Nassim ben Sarah and Aaron David Halevi ben Menucha Adol Esther. Here we go. We start a new parak today. So this is the second parak of Rosh Hashanah. We said that that witnesses are allowed to travel on Shabbos during the time of the Beis Hamikdash every month of the year. Otherwise, just for Tishrei and Nisan, they're allowed to travel on Shabbos to testify that they saw the new moon. It's relevant for the holidays. What happens? They're going to show up in Beis Din. Im ein makirin, I say. Im ein makirin, I say. The Beis Din doesn't know who these people are. They don't have fingerprints or anything. So they would send someone else along with the witness. Apparently, the person himself didn't see the new moon, or else he could have been the witness. He could have been the witness himself.
Sort of vouching for them.
But he's vouching for
their credibility.
For the credibility. Very good. Originally, they didn't have to suspect that maybe there would be someone that's lying about this. I mean, there should be no bias. You saw the new moon. It's not like he's making anything off it. So, but the Baitusim, they had a certain opinion that for their own causes, it would be worthwhile for them to lie about when the new month was, and that's referring to. They held that Shavuos is always 7 weeks after Pesach on a Sunday. So if they could, so they wanted Pesach to fall out on Shabbos, so that the day after Shabbos would be a Sunday, and that way they could arrange that it would actually work out with the calendar as well, that it should be Sunday. Tzaddik and Baitas were students of Antigonus Ishtaifel. Yeah. It's a little confusing what their opinions are. They didn't believe in, according to what we know from the commentaries on the Mishnahs, they didn't believe in reward, because Antigonus said you should serve Hashem not for the reward. They said, there's no reward. But apparently they also didn't believe in the teachings of the sages and a lot of other things also. So yeah, I think the scholars try to recreate their what would be their whole philosophy, and if there's a difference between the Tzedukim and Baitusim. They claim that in the Mishnayos they're called Baitusim and the Tosefta they're called Tzedukim, but I'm not sure all the scholarship on that. So after the Baitusim started to corrupt the system, and they would lie about when Rosh Chodesh was, so then they instituted that we only accept the testimony of the sighting of the new moon from people that we know. Yeah. Taisus points out that the other person that they would send with him would also be Machal Shabbos, if it was for one of those months. Okay. Who are they sending? Rashi says that apparently there was a Beis Din in the place where he's coming from to go to the Beis Din Hagadol that would be in Yerushalayim, that would take the testimony of the Eidos HaChodesh. No, it wasn't just a small Beis Din. Any, the rabbi, the president, and the chazan that were creating this. Okay. My acher. When the Gemara asks, when it says that you would send someone else together with the person, with the witness, what does it mean that you send someone else? Chad, you're sending one person. B'chad mi mehemen. Are we going to trust one person to testify about someone else? V'hatanya, we have a brisa. Ma'aser shebahu ve'eda v'imay lahayed alav. There's a story that he came together with his witnesses. Sounds like witnesses about him. Lahayed alav. So it's one witness wouldn't be good. We need two witnesses. Rav Papa says, Rav Papa is a later Amir, is a student of Abaye and Rava. He says, "My acher zug acher." When it says they would send another, it meant they would send another peer. Yeah, it didn't look like that from the singular acher. Otherwise, it would have said acherim. But you can also, like we mentioned, you can say a pair in singular, one pair. Yeah. Okay. Hachinam mistabra. This also makes sense. You know why? If we can't say that when it says another, the word another, together with him, then it's referring to another pair, then im ein makirin oisai, if they don't recognize him, my oisai, who's the him? Yeah, all these pronouns. So ilema oisai chad, if it's talking about one person, bechad mi mehemen, are we going to trust one person to testify about the new moon? So mishpat ksiv bey, it says mishpat. Rashi quotes the pasuk, ki chayk li Yisrael hu mishpat chulu v'gaimer. It's a statute for Israel. It's a law, and anything that's a law would require. It's a judgment. It would require two witnesses. To testify about him. You know who the him is? Him is the they. It's the pair that's coming as witnesses. We need another, which is another pair, to testify about this pair. Yeah. My Isai Azug.
Wouldn't you need two pairs?
So now it turns out that there's two pairs.
Or would you need two pairs to testify about the pair?
No, you have one pair testifying about both people.
So
Yeah.
that
they know
pair
both.
would have to be able to know both
They
and
would know
testify both.
Yeah.
The pair that's testifying about the other pair, they are known to the Sanhedrin?
Yeah, apparently. Apparently. Unless I hear what you're asking. You're asking that would it be enough just to have witnesses saying that another person is valid and then assume that if there's someone else saying about them, that I don't have to know someone in that just to testify about people. Right here. Yeah, I don't have any source for saying that they're known. I'm just, that's what I thought, but it could be differently. Any comment? And does it say anything on the side over there?
I'm sort of trying to like catch up.
Okay, I hear. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I could definitely see that question because it's not very.
Right. All right. Yeah, when I learn with like a chavrusa or whatever, whenever you have a question like that, it's a valid question. It's usually going to be a machlekes in the Rishonim. That's if I think like this and my chavrusa thinks, probably someone else thought it, unless it's like clearly the Gemara later says. Okay. Hachanami mayacher zugacher. So also this is proving that when we said that there's going to be that there's that the other person that's coming to testify, it turns out that should be another peer that's coming to testify about the trustworthiness of the witnesses. Now the Gemara says, "V'chadle mehaman," you can't trust one person. V'hatanya, we have a brisa. Ma'aser b'Rabbi Hayroi, shahalach etzel ha'ed, lahoid alav b'Shabbos b'usha. Rabbi Hayroi. Rabbi Hayroi, according to some, is Reb Meir. The same word. Nahira is in Aramaic for light. Yeah. This was different opinions in Erevin. If Rabbi Hayroi is Reb Meir. So Rabbi Hayroi traveled. I sound better over there. He traveled along with the witnesses, Eitzel Ha'ed, traveled along with the witness to testify about him on Shabbos in Usha. Usha was one of the places where the Sanhedrin moved to after it left the Lishkas Agazis. The chamber, it went from from there to Usha, to Yavna, to Usha, that was one of the 10 stops. I think Usha was twice. So that was where the Bezdin was. And Rab Nahiroi goes on Shabbos to testify about a witness. Now it turns out that Rab Nahiroi is one person. So the Gemara says, Amrin Rab Nahiroi Sadach have a bad day. There was really someone else that traveled along with Rab Nahiroi. Why didn't we mention him? We didn't mention him. I don't want to say Rab Nahiroi and someone else. Rab Nahiroi went along. We were trying to show that how important it is, the Eidas HaChodesh, that Rab Nahiroi would go to assist a regular person to testify about him. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Tosfos brings that he wasn't necessarily testifying about the witness. He was testifying about seeing the moon, and he was traveling along with this other witness. Yeah, what would that help though? Because that doesn't seem like that's what the Gemara is doing over here. The Gemara was asking that maybe you only need one witness to testify about a person's trustworthiness.
One witness, it's a group of 2 people.
That's how we answered.
Okay.
And now the Gemara is challenging that answer, saying it seems like it only needs one because Rabbi Nahiroi traveled. We said no, there was someone else with him. Okay. Rav Ashi Amar Rabbi Nahiroi Sada China Have Ba'usha. Rabbi Nahiroi had another witness that was there in Usha that was waiting for them. And Va'azal Rabbi Nahiroi Letzrufa Ba'adei, and Rabbi Nahiroi went to join together with him. So you automatically had 2 witnesses. So it's not that Rabbi Nahiroi traveled, there was only one, there was someone else there. Yesterday we said that they don't have to know each other, the 2 witnesses. They don't have to see it together, see each other and all of that. Here we're talking about just to testify about the person now. Ihachi Maila Meimra. So what's the chiddush then? If there were 2 witnesses that are there, let's say they come over there and the guy's not home. The whole way that this witness is going to be able to testify is Rabbi Nahiroi can join together with this other witness that happens to know the person that saw the moon. But if that guy's not home, then Rabbi Nahirai's traveling is in vain. And he traveled on Shabbos. And it's not even going to be useful. So Kamash Malan that it doesn't matter. Even though it's a doubt, if it's going to be useful, we still allow him to travel. Kiyasa Ula Amar Kadshula Yarcha B'Marava. Ula came and he said that in Eretz Yisrael they said that the Rosh Chodesh is on such and such a day. What do we see from this? That one witness can come and tell us about the new moon. This is after the fact, though. So, Amar Rav Kana, Loimi Bayula the Gavar Rabbahu the Meheman. It's not only because Ula is a great person that we're trusting him. Elafilu Inishta Alma Nami Meheman. We would really trust anyone that would come and tell us what happened in Eretz Yisrael. My time, Kol Milsa David Legluye Le Meshakri Bainshi. Anything that's going to become well known, people aren't going to lie about. By the way, this is not so true. I guess even in court, it's not true. Yeah. My friend, that's a doctor. He says, he's a surgeon. He says, he asked the patient, did you ever have a surgery? In this, they say no. And then he starts to, do the surgery. He opens, he sees scar tissue there. They lied to the doctor. It's unbelievable. Yeah, you agree?
When I asked if they had surgery, they said, no, I do an x-ray and see they had surgery. I said, what about this? I showed the x-ray. They happened to show on the x-ray.
Amazing. Yeah.
I have a question about the time for all this. That the witnesses start traveling to Jerusalem. They get there, they can't testify before the base at night.
Right.
So they have to give their testimony.
right? And they probably saw it before nightfall also, so gives very little chance to them to get it in by day.
They can't give the testimony after a certain time.
Right.
Right? So when was the carbon brought for this?
Yeah. Yeah. So regarding the carbon, that would be an issue. But regarding everything else, let's say Rosh Hashanah, they were keeping Rosh Hashanah because of a doubt on the 30th of Elul, which may be Rosh Hashanah. The witnesses show up and they're keeping the 31st also. Because maybe it's the first, maybe it wasn't necessarily the 30th of Elul that was Rosh Hashanah. So so they're going to keep the 31st now, and but the witnesses show up and they tell them that no, you don't have to keep the 31st. So the witnesses are helping them on the following day that they can know that it wasn't Rosh Hashanah.
That's what would happen.
Right.
Show up on a day and basically say, oops, you thought today it was the 30th, but it's really the first yesterday, right?
We thought today is the second,
30.
and it's
say
really
it's a
the
normal
first.
month, not
Yeah.
Rosh Hashanah. You thought
Okay.
today was 30. Everyone thought it was going to be 30. Now we have witnesses who does the moon. So this is really the first,
Okay,
right? But when do they do that?
it would be on the 31st. Yeah, if they could get it in before Rosh Hashanah, before the evening, then good. Otherwise, on the 31st, they would find out that yesterday was Rosh Hashanah, and they would just say today, okay, so today's 2.
On the 31st, you don't need it.
No, but I need to know that it's the second day, not the first day. And as the moon is going to be there. Yeah, that's what we're saying over here, that to lie about the moon, they could lie about the moon, but they can't lie about what the Bezdin established. Because that people, Bezdin can say, they could, right? That's Avidah Legluya. That's what you're talking about. We never did that. But the moon, they can say, we saw the moon. Prove me wrong. Or, we didn't see the moon. You know.
What do you mean by the 31st?
What happens is,
31st.
yeah, so a month is 29 days.
29 and a quarter days.
And a half, right? 29 and a half days. So then, if they see the moon on
29 or 30?
the
How's it
29 or
31st?
30, so then that day would be the 30th day would turn into the first. Would be the
Correct.
first of the new month.
Okay.
If they don't see the moon throughout the 30th, then Rosh Chodesh would be automatically the 31st, which would mean
Which is the first.
which is the first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
the
so there's no
31st makes
31st,
There's
yeah.
no 31st.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, what Reb Naftali is bringing out is that
Oh,
the testimony is really showing up the day later, and then they're finding out that yesterday was Rosh Chodesh. What is that relevant with the carbon? It's messed up. I mean, the carbon, they can't go back and do yesterday's carbon, but for B'negei Rosh Hashanah, they can say, okay, we don't have to keep today because we kept yesterday, and yesterday was the real day.
But if, let's say it's over past 3 days.
Right.
Nobody shows up.
Yeah.
On the 31st, they're going to come.
Yeah.
I assume.
Right. Right. It becomes automatic, I think. Yeah.
So the person would show up because for them it's not Rosh Hashanah anymore, so they were able to travel.
Yeah, but I
That's
think
not-
when it comes to this, they would travel anyway. For Rosh Hashanah, they would travel anyway.
Oh, they would travel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Tanya Namihachi is also a brisa. If someone shows up and says that the Bezdin was Makadosh, the Chaydesh, so then they're believed. Even if it comes from the end of the earth. It means it doesn't have to be someone that we know or whatever, because that's going to become quite obvious if he was saying the truth or not. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, she mentioned what you said you had to recognize
Yeah. So you have to know the witnesses that saw the moon. But if witnesses come and tell us that the Bezdin did something, So that you don't have to know those witnesses because it's milsa David Ligluye, because people are gonna find out was he saying the truth or not. Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah, we had a case where in the best and someone converted. We asked, is there a girlfriend or something? Someone they said, no. There's no one there. Anyway, you know how this is. Turns out that 2 weeks after the conversion, the girlfriend had a baby, and they needed to do a bris. So we asked the person, what were you thinking? Like, how were you, like, how, tell us your thought process. Like, how are you going to get away with this? Like, how was that going to, they said, yeah, I didn't really think it through. So.
His mother's always Jewish.
Yeah.
And she said,
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's a milsa David Ligluye, like, at a certain point, whatever. Okay. Originally, they would accept from everyone. And then it became that there was like a bias here because of the Baitusim's opinions about Shavuos and Pesach. So then they had to be more careful. Tanu Rabbanan, we have a brisa. It's a Tosefta. Ma kilkalu Baitusim. What corruption did the Baitusim do? The brises give us sometimes more details, like an unedited version of what took place. The Mishnah is edited. So, one time the Baitusim wanted to trick the sages, and they were ready to pay 400 zuz to get the calendar to change. So they hired 2 witnesses. One of them happened to be from they're called Perushim, from the sages, and one of them happened to be Baitusi. It seems from this Gemara that they were expecting both of them to be Baitusim. One of them somehow got in there, and he said yeah,
Undercover.
he's undercover. Shalahem hey, they do say. The Baitusi gives his testimony, v'yatza, and he goes out. Shalano amrlai amar ketzad risa salavana. They tell him, tell us what you saw. Tell us how you saw the moon. It's an open question. Amalahem, b'mala adumim. I saw it rising up in Mala Adumim. Ve'isiv shu ravetz bein baseline. I see it's crouched. Talking about the new moon here. Crouched between 2 rocks. Reisha daimala egel. The head of the moon looked like a calf. Oznav daimala gedi. But the ears of the moon look like a goat. Karnav daimas litzvi. The horns look like a deer. And the tail was between its 2 thighs. It was like a poem from somewhere. And I glanced at it. I got so shocked. I fell backwards. If you don't trust me, what's happening? I have 200 zuz that's tied up in my belt. Amrulai, they said to him, Mias kikach lakach. Who set you up to this? I heard that the Baitusim were trying to trick the sages, and I applied for the job. Said it's better that I do it, and I'll be able to tell you the truth than someone else does it, and they would actually fool the sages. They say you can keep the 200 zuz. Rashi says he didn't do his part. He gave it away. He wasn't being paid for that. Rashi says hefker bezdin hefker. The bezdin is allowed to make a knas to take money for someone to like impose a fine. so they can take the fine money and so they let this person keep it. Yeah, hefker doesn't have then it becomes his. And those that hired you will be spread out on the post. That means they're going to get lashes. Then they said we're only going to take testimony from those people that we know. So that's the background to this Mishnah that when they switched the law. Yeah.
So anyway, this story, there's a note here. It says, obviously it's fictional, but the commentaries find it allegorical to, or symbolic to the Egel Azahav.
Uh-huh.
It's that's what the ram brings. And, Ma'al Admon is Edel. Or at least they think it's Edel.
Uh-huh.
So that's associated with Rome. And the tail between the thighs is actually the weakness of the leadership of the generation.
Is that a quote from the Masha?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Jonathan is telling us that there's a Masha here that says how it's allegorical. Every part of this is like compared to a different nation. Okay. The way it started though was, I'm sorry, Masha, I can't hear. So the way it started was that obviously it wasn't true, but I'm not sure. I don't know if the person actually showed up or not, or if this is just
One suggestion is that it is a symbolic explanation of why the Jewish people were enslaved to the nations.
Huh.
And that
Okay.
includes, Ma'al Admon.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, there's always layers of commentary on everything. Daniel, you have something to add to this? Nothing yet. Okay. Okay, we have a new Mishnah. The Gemara is going to say that Masiyan. I thought Masiyan Masuas means they would lift up these loads, but apparently it means they would burn fires. Masiyan Masuas. They would burn fires. When the Kutim corrupted, here we have the Kutim. Before it was the Baitusim. The Kutim were the people, the Samaritans. These were people that moved to the north of Israel when the 10 tribes left, and they were just living there to make sure that the animals didn't come into, one shouldn't be overrun.
They didn't believe in the oral Torah, did they?
And then it ended up that they didn't believe in the rabbis.
Were they
Also,
considered like, were they Jewish or were they just like Persian?
so originally there was a machlekes, and then afterwards they found an idol and they decided that they weren't Jewish. Yeah, originally it wasn't clear if they actually accepted the Torah or not. Yeah. Mishakilkalu akutim, when the kutim corrupted we instituted that we can't use the fires as a sign. They would light fires on each mountain and it would spread down, and that would inform the other communities when Rosh Chodesh was. It's like Morse code. But then they had to send messengers. How would it work? Being these poles of cedar wood, aruchim, they're very long. Bekanim, and there would be reeds, and atze shemen. Shemen, I think, is pine wood. There's this type of wood that starts a fire. They call it fat wood. And it's like from the inside of the pine. Here it's oil. It's called oil wood, and they use it for fire starters. For those people that don't use lighter fluid. So it starts right away. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Very right.
fires using it,
Oh, wow. Very nice.
just in case you.
Very nice. So the Ne'ur Shel Pishtan, this is like tufts of flax. With Kairich b'Mashicha, they would tie it with a string and to the top of the post. Va'ila l'Reisha Har, they would go to the top of the mountain. Matzis b'Mar, they would light it on fire. Ma'ilach Hamevi, Ma'ila Ma'irad, Achurayas. Okay, Ma'ila Ma'irad, they would wave it back and forth. Achurayas Chaver Shuaisakain B'Reish Har Hasheni. And he would continue doing this until he sees that his friend on the next mountain is doing it as well. And then the third mountain. Where would this begin? It would start at Haramishcha, that's Harazaisim, right? And it would go from there to Sartaba. I'm not sure where that is. Did they say where that is? In the what's it called? Sartaba.
They have a map here. It's just north of Mount Olive.
Oh, so it's going north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think they only need to go east, but maybe because of the mountains, they had to take it around the chain of mountains. So
It seems like it's trying to reach the same as Pompedisa, like as north as Pompedisa. So then they would be able to see all of it across.
so Pumbedisa is more north than Israel.
More north than Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
Completely east.
Interesting. Okay. Misratrba legrufina, migrufina lechivran, mechivran lebespalten, mebespalten, lezaz misham elamelech amevi, mailamardat shuraya kolagel lefanav kamadersesh. Then it would go all the way till Beispalten, and from there he would continue waving it until on all the mountains following that would be all lit up.
But did the torches actually go from Eretz Yisrael all the way to Bavel? Like
That's what it
was
seems.
changed? Oh, wow.
Yeah, but then we'll see that they had to stop that. That was a good system, but they had to stop it.
It would take a while. So I guess they had 2 days.
Yeah, it would take a while. It would take as long as it takes to light a fire. If the people were waiting, then it wouldn't take so long. You know, the speed of light. Yeah, that's quick. 300,000 kilometers per second or something. Okay, my mashma. My mashma, the Masiyan lishna diyakaidu. Where do you get it from that this term Masiyan means that they would light it, that they would burn it? The ksiv, Yisam David va'anashav. When David first becomes king, so the Plishtim made an attack, and David, I think he asks he gets a prophecy that he should go and fight, he'll win. So he goes and fights and he wins, but then they didn't take anything from there. They just burnt all the spoils. It says, Vayisam David va'anashav. That means that he burnt it. Metagaminan va'oikten David. Va'ikdinan David. David burnt it. So here, Masiyan Masuais means that they would light fires.
Seeing is just burning.
Yeah, that's what we're getting over here. Usually, when we have the Targum, it's usually Rabbi Yosef that comes in and tells us the Targum, because Rabbi Yosef was blind, and there's a problem with saying Tersha B'Ksav by heart. You're not supposed to Tersha B'Ksav. The written Torah is supposed to be read. Davening you're allowed to say by heart because things that everyone knows by heart you're allowed to say, but other things, the rest of Tanakh you're not supposed to say by heart. So in the Gemara, whenever we quote a Targum, it's always Rabbi Yosef that quotes it because he was blind. So he would learn the Targum by heart instead of the Targum you're allowed to say by heart. So he was an expert in Targum. Here it just gives us a translation of a word. Taner Rabbanan. Ein Masiyan Masuas Ela Ala Chidash Ner Bizman Ela Katshe. You see, it would be very confusing if they would light the torches both for a month of 29 days and a month of 30 days. So they had to choose one. We're only going to light the torches if it's this type of month. Which one, that we're going to see. But If it would be either one, then maybe they would say, oh, we weren't able to do it for a certain reason, and whatever, and then it would mess everything up. So here we're saying that we would only light it for months that were short, bismanai, that were 29 days. So the 30th day becomes the first of the new month. But when would they light it? They would light it la'ar iburai. They would light it on the night of the leap month. Lamemra, okay. La'ar iburai Rashi explains that on the 30th day, they would light a torch. They would light a torch that night, which was the night before the 31st. In between the 30th and the 31st, they would light it. And that would tell me that the previous day was Rosh Chodesh.
Whoops.
Yeah, trying to get my head around this.
So everyone missed Rosh Hashanah.
Everyone missed Rosh Chodesh. Yeah.
Including the carbon.
Yeah. Well, the Karban hopefully was in Yerushalayim and they got that news right away. But for everyone else, they should find out when it was. And they let them know that the previous day was Rosh Chodesh.
And did they light it during the daytime or nighttime?
So,
Because the most effective would be for them to light it at night.
Right.
Which means that it's the following night yet again.
right. So they would light it
now
at
it's 2
night.
days.
They would light it at night, but it was the night of the prior to the 31st.
So it was every other month.
Yes, it would be every other month if it would work out according to the calendar. No, maybe the 31st is the first of the month. How do you know if the 31st is the second or the first of the month? So when they would light the torch, that would tell me, well, on the 29th, they didn't have the Eidas HaChodesh. They would only get it sometime on the 30th. The witnesses would come and tell me today is Rosh Chodesh. They could come the 29th by night.
If the new moon appeared on the 29th, the next morning on the 29th, they showed up to testify.
No, the 29th is still the old month.
Right.
And the 29th, it's still the old moon. Maybe it's invisible, but they would start to see the new moon
It's at
on
night,
the 30th
following day.
So
or the 29th in the evening.
29.5, so one
Okay.
month on the 31st, on the 29th.
Okay. So the torches would be lit on a regular basis, would be lit on the 30th, but it would need to be the 30th by night.
So
So they could be
if
seen.
the new moon was on the 29th, then the witnesses could see them. They could testify on the morning after the 29th. Yeah, of course, it could have been lit on the 30th.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
why does it have to be the second day? Well, first the torch is over, so everyone knows, okay, today is, they want tonight's day.
Uh-huh. They would set it up though, because it wouldn't be regular for it to be seen, to be able to do it on the 30th. So they would do it on the 30th by night. Right.
So it's the 30th of the night, and that means today is the first day of the day, if they want.
Yeah, but if the witnesses were there on the 30th in the morning,
They were
to
there
test,
29th in the morning. 29th that
the
day.
29th in the morning would be very odd for that to happen.
No, it's every other month.
No, because I need 29 and a half days.
Right, so last month was a 30-day month, and this month's gonna be a 29-day month. Who should? It's 29 and a half days.
No, it's not always.
He's saying that the birth of the moon happened during the morning hours,
Right.
which can very well.
Right,
be.
which is
Like
possible.
the Mullah, there's
Yeah,
at
but
7 a.m.
which morning hours, the 29th or the 30th?
The 29th.
There's no way in the world
It can
you
be.
get
No,
Because
but the
he said that
29th
the prior month was 29 and a half, and it was celebrated on the 30th.
Right.
Now from the
Even
30th,
today, I think
you
there's
lapse
some-
29
sometimes-
days, and in
I
the
think
early
even
part
today,
of the
sometimes
day,
there are
Right.
like
you could
2 months
have
that are
it, the
29
mullah,
days.
Right.
because it's 29, 29 and a
Right.
half,
The
29
problem
and a
is
half,
though,
becomes the 50,
We
59,
spoke about it.
and on the
last-
59
Right, I
in the
understand.
beginning.
the problem is that it goes out of vision for 12 hours.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So it would be odd to see it still at the 29th in the morning. They would probably see it 29th in the evening. The 29th
But
in the
it is
evening,
possible.
it is
It
possible.
is possible.
Yeah.
What you're saying is more likely, but what he's saying, his argument is that
Right.
it's possible.
44
Right.
minutes.
But all of this again, going back, all of this is the Maaseh Kuti.
They'd have to make up
Right?
for
And
it.
we're going through all this.
No,
this
one
is-
so one second.
Isn't this,
The kutim come in and they messed it up and we had to stop it.
That makes sense.
all of this fire lighting
This,
and all
this
that?
fire was something we had to stop because the kutim would lit it on the wrong day
And then started
and they started, but this is something that we instituted. And we would do this regularly until we had to stop it because it was,
because of what they were doing
yeah.
to sabotage,
right. Very good.
basically.
Yeah, it says they didn't, the Kutim didn't accept the sanctity of the Yerushalayim.
Yes.
And they had their own method of establishing the month.
So this is telling me that you would light it for the months that were 29 days, that the next month was starting on the 30th. And Amalei lo yavdinam, but they wouldn't do it for a 30-day month, and the 31st would be my timer. What's the reason why you would do it like this? You really only had to choose one of them to light it for, and then the other one would be known that oh, they didn't light the torches this month, so we know what type of month it was. Let's say it was a 29th day month and it was Erev Shabbos. What would happen that night? They can't light the torches. Yeah, they can't light the torches. Why not? Because it would only be for Tishrei and Nisan that you would need to do, except in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, and even in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, it would only be for the Karban that the witnesses would come to the Beis Din, but not on the way out. And we're talking about there were two Machal Shabbos, getting to the Beis Din, coming out, and lighting the torches.
itself. Wow.
So here, what you wouldn't do, you couldn't do it for yeah, get a Shabbos guy here. Here, that's interesting. So, Gzeir Mishum Rosh.
I like the quote that they brought down.
So what's going to happen is Rosh Chodesh Chasser Shchaliyas Berev Shabbos. Emasai Abdi Bafuki Shabbata. They would have to light it when Shabbos went out. They would light it when Shabbos went out. Now this is going to be confusing. If they would light it for, you see, if you would say that you're lighting it for both, first we have to get rid of lighting it for both. If you would light it for both, then this is going to mess everything up because Rosh Chodesh was already on Friday and you're lighting it Motzei Shabbos. If you would say you would light it the night after Rosh Chodesh, that would tell me that the previous day was Rosh Chodesh. So if they would light it Motzei Shabbos, that would tell me Shabbos was Rosh Chodesh. Really, Friday was Rosh Chodesh. Also, Lamiti, that would be a mistake. Amri Hai Chaserhu. They could say either, they could say like this, either this is a month of a 29 days. Why didn't they do it last night? Because it was impossible. It was Shabbos. Oidilma, Malihu. Or maybe this is a full month. Ubizmana Yavdu. And they do it for the 30th day. Today was Shabbos, they did it Motzei Shabbos.
Can I ask a Rabbi question?
Let's say.
So if there's only one day Rosh Chodesh, you light it one night. And if there's 2 days Rosh Chodesh, you light it the second night.
No.
Light it twice.
Oh. Okay, the Gemara is going to ask something like that. We should do it like this. You should light it whichever night it is. Whatever it is, whether it's a full month or not a full month. And if Rosh Chodesh is Erev Shabbos, which that would be the only problem day because you wouldn't be able to light it Friday night. You'll end up lighting it Motzei Shabbos. That would throw everyone off. Don't do it at all. Very good solution. If Rosh Chodesh could be on Friday or Shabbos, and it comes out on Friday, so don't light it Motzei Shabbos, and everyone will know that Friday was Rosh Chodesh.
I thought they could light it on Shabbos.
Would they light it on Shabbos? 1 second. Would they light it on Shabbos on those months that it was necessary?
Is that
because they allowed Eidim to be Mechal Shabbos. This is when
They did allow the Eidim to be
Yeah,
Mechal
so-
Shabbos.
if-
Why couldn't they light this on Shabbos?
It seems like a whole other level of Hilul Shabbos, right? The Parchesia kind of thing.
Oh, that's the Chal. Rashi's-
The Eidim could be Mechal for the Karban,
The other way around.
and the Eidim could be Mechal to travel, to be to get there in time for. Oh no. The Eidim traveling out would not be Mechal Shabbos. Remember, they would only reach there for Nisan, but they wouldn't reach there for Tishrei. The Eidim traveling out would not be Mechal Shabbos. Only the Eidim traveling to the Bezdin could be Mechal Shabbos. Oh, but there's other things other than Tchumen, whatever they needed. Right. 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 Yeah. So the to get the information out, they wouldn't be Machal Shabbos. It was only to get the information into the Bezdin. Yeah.
That's Malacha.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. In the last Mishnah, or on Chaf Aleph Amid Beis on the top, there would be Machal Shabbos, only the Eidim that would come. And then it says that those were the months that they would send out shluchim, but not that they would be those shluchim would be Machal Shabbos. So here they can't light it on Shabbos. That answers the question. Okay, the only question is.
Rashi says that the circumstances beyond the control refers to the possibility of being inebriated on Shabbat meal.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that over here. Okay. Could be a Rashi somewhere else. So we're asking that we could still do it for a full month. And the only thing is that we won't do it on, we can do it for both full and not a full month, right? Chaser and Malay. And if it falls on Shabbos, you don't do it if Friday was Rosh Chodesh. And then everyone will know that Friday was Rosh Chodesh. It says, "Afilu hachi yaseh limiti." It's still possible that people could make a mistake, because Amri Hai Mali, who really this was a Malay. The fact that they didn't do it Mitzvah Shabbos was a mistake. It was against something happened. They weren't able to get up there. The rain was too strong or whatever. You know. What? It was a Inus. Oh, that's the Rashi. Shukr Shal Nishta. Okay, that's the Rashi. Oh, they got drunk. Yeah, very good. Shekayach. Yeah, they got drunk. Yeah, that's why they didn't make it up.
What kind of eight?
Yeah, what kind of Eidim? Yeah, no, these were the people that played with fire. This is not the Eidim that would come. Yeah, very good. Yeah, don't tell this to everyone. We'll say I found a source in the Gemara that people get drunk every Shabbos. Okay. Okay, that's what we said. What about the opposite? Just do it for the Malay, for the full month, and don't do it on the month that's 29 days. In other words, you could do it any way you want. Very interesting. What would happen on Rosh Hashanah if you would only do it for a Malay? It would go like this. Elul is 29 days. They don't know if the 30th day is going to be Elul or if the 30th day is going to be Tishrei, right? It's usually 29. It's usually 29.
I thought we said already we established L. Why? Because we need to know what the Rosh Hashanah is.
Yeah. However, that was what they were going to keep for Rosh Hashanah. But what happened is like this: Rosh Hashanah itself, Tishrei itself. Look at what happens. It's the 29th day at night. People would already consider it. It's other 30 of Elul. People would consider it Rosh Hashanah. They would set, the round challah and the honey and the fish head and everything. They're considering it Rosh Hashanah, but they don't know if it's Rosh Hashanah because it could be still, El could have 30 days.
Well, we did say
So they
the
would-
Rosh Hashanah is 2 days.
Yes, so 1 second. So what would happen now is that they would celebrate this day as if it's Rosh Hashanah. They would be careful not to do malacha. Now that night, if we would light torches when it's a chaser, then they would light a torch that night. And everyone would know that they celebrated it correctly. Very good. If you do it for the malay, for the full one, so then you wouldn't light a torch that night. You would just wait. And you would celebrate the next day. And then if they would light it the next night, then they would know that the second day was really Rosh Hashanah and the first day wasn't.
But
if there was
observed it
no-
anyway.
But they observed it anyway.
Yeah.
But if there was no torch, then they would know that the first day was really Rosh Hashanah. So they would have to wait an extra day to find out that the first day was correct. And how would they find out? No torch. The Gemara was asking, should we do it on the chaser? Should we do it on the malay? So we said, if you do it on the malay, you're going to have to wait 2 days to find out that it was the first day, that the first day was really Rosh Hashanah. It's bittul malacha. People won't go to work for an extra day. If you would do it on the chaser, then they find out that night that they did it correctly. Then the following day they go to work. It's not even some Gedalia. It's Beis Tishrei. They had a day in between. I don't know if some Gedalia was on the 3rd or the 2nd back then. We don't fast on Rosh Hashanah.
They didn't have 2 days in a
If they would find out clearly when it was, then it would only be 1 day. Yeah.
So what happened to the Yom HaRishon? When did that start?
So if you remember in Masechta Beya, the Maskanas Gemara seemed to be that Rosh Hashanah in Eretz Yisrael is only 1 day. And we had a note over there that when the Ramban came to Eretz Yisrael, he switched it, that it's 2 days.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in Masechta Beya, that seemed to be the Maskanas Gemara. It's very interesting. But anyway, today everyone keeps 2 days Rosh Hashanah, I assume. Okay. By the pouring of the wine, by the sacrifice, which was sometime, anytime after the carbon tamid. It could have been in the morning. It's supposed to be before the 7th hour. So I don't think they could bring a carbon if it wasn't clear. They wouldn't bring it. Only if they knew. I don't think they brought it because of doubt. Because the Rosh Chodesh carbon, I don't think they brought it out of doubt. I think if they could bring it, good. If not, then they didn't. Oh. No, it was Rosh Chodesh is only 1 day. It's only the first day. Yeah, we have like this thing with 2 days, but
It
that's
seems like we have 2 days because of this chaos that happened.
Right.
They weren't sure, so they celebrated 2 days.
right. So our 2 days is a 30th. There's always a 30th of a month and then a 1st of a month. That's our 2 days
In which day would they bring the carbon?
on the 1st.
On the first.
Yeah.
So the 30th was,
It's not.
it's like,
They could celebrate everything like Rosh Chodesh. Oh, so over here I left out something. I'm explaining it on as Rosh Hashanah, that the Bittul Malacha, that they wouldn't be able to do work. Tosfos here says that Rashi is explaining Bittul Malacha. It doesn't have to be Rosh Hashanah. Every Rosh Chodesh they didn't do work. Yeah. Like Chalamayit, right? Kagain Rosh Chodesh v'Chodesh Hamayid. Gilam Lem Sheisef Amaka Yom Tov L'Nashim b'Rosh Chodesh. That it's a holiday for the women, as a merit that they didn't participate in the Egel. Aaron says, take off your rings, the earrings. The women didn't take it off. They didn't want to participate. So because of that, they merited that Rosh Chodesh is their Yom Tov. Yeah, I guess we should stop over here. I didn't need the thing. This is the, what's it called? Okay,
Thank you.
have a good day.
Gives us a chance to fight back.